Might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 5 of the Everything Simulated Aussie Outlaws GT3 series. We're here at Snetterton tonight for a sprint round, and joining me, I'm Jai Schultz, and joining me tonight is Mr. Steve Hoppett. How are we going, Steve?
Yeah, not too bad, Jai. Thanks for jumping in tonight. I actually wasn't sure I was going to make it, but I'm here. And even though I'm here, we took pity on Jai and said, well, we're not going to kick you out in the cold. You can stay in and get the job done. I'll back you up all night long, and we're looking forward to some great racing too, by the way, mate.
Definitely are, and it's a bit warmer inside than outside, so I'm happily snugged up here in the booth, and enjoying watching the boys practice at the moment here at Snetterton and watching them throw it around this beautiful UK circuit.
Yeah, it's a little bit foggy out there. We do expect that to clear up fairly soon. But we are not expecting rain, which is why we've got the fog. It's supposed to be a pretty decent day out there.
Yeah, just like normal, the foggy weather sets in the morning, but clears up throughout the day. And here at Snetterton, it's only 45 miles northeast of Cambridge as well, so not too far from there. And normally some good weather, and hopefully it clears up nice and quickly in qualifying, and these boys can actually see a little bit further down the road than they're currently seeing now.
Yeah, got Brad Fenley on screen there at the moment, I believe, in the VB car. Sort of number 59, trying to get some laps under his belt, get a feel for this track. I've got no idea which of these guys has actually managed to get some practice during the week and how many of them are already familiar with the track. So they may be getting the only practice that they need right now.
They've definitely had a couple more days practice with the slight postponement of the race, but we are here for round 5 of Snetterton as we do see the checkered flag being displayed at the end of practice. So we've got a 20-minute qualifying session. So with 24 cars currently in the session at the moment, it'll be the first battle is to find a bit of clear track, get the tyres up to temp, and hopefully do some low fuel runs and get some times on the board as we just click over and look at that. The fog's already cleared up and raring to go.
Yeah, I wish the fog cleared up that fast in real life.
Yeah. Reminded me a little bit of Melbourne weather. 5 minutes and it's completely different.
Exactly. But yeah, so we have some beautiful. Well, it looks a little bit overcast, but that could just be a bit deceiving. It is nice and sunny out there. The track is warm. And we are expecting some good grip, some good racing out there as we do kick off this 20-minute qualify. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the guys can actually do with this. Very different with the last round I did was a month ago, and that was rain, dry. So yeah, we'll see what the boys can do with these dry conditions.
Yeah, well, as we mentioned before, there's no rain on the forecast for today's race, so hopefully we can all keep it on the track. But similar to the last round at Donington Park, the Snetterton 300 layout that we're here at tonight, we've got a few flying corners, a few sharp hairpins, and the turn 10, we've got to watch out for that curb on the inside there because that can really unsettle the car as well. So it's all about getting the line right and kind of keeping it on the track, as there's a few off-camber grass sections off the track as well. So if you do go off, generally takes a little bit to get back onto the track.
So I believe you've actually got a bit of a cheat sheet there tonight. How many tyres are the guys looking at tonight, Jai?
So they've got 3 tyre sets for the race, the set that they start on, and 2 possible changes over the wall. So we do have a compulsory pit stop in this race for fuel and 4 tyres. So they're going to use at least 1 set of those tyres, with the option to use a second one, but you're more than likely just going to do the 1 stop tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because as to when different guys with their strategies decide to take that compulsory stop. A couple of rounds ago, we actually saw the leaders come in with only a few laps to go, and it was quite strange the way that it didn't hurt them. It actually played into their hands. So it'd be interesting to see how the guys actually do that tonight. Being GT3 with a variety of cars out on track, it's going to be very interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, definitely right. And it with the strategy as well, it really depends on, as you said, when they come in, because obviously with the GT3 cars, we've got the Daytona 24s and all those longer races throughout the year. A lot of people normally double stint tires in that one, but tonight you're going to have to take those fresh tires. So is it going to be an overcut situation? Is it going to be an undercut? Can you get out of traffic? There's a lot to kind of go through these drivers' minds tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. And quite a few of these guys are also going to be watching what their opponents are doing. They'll know who it is that they want to watch, depending on how their race goes and whether they can be in a certain position where they want to be at a given point of the race. But at the moment, as you look at your screen, you'll see that some names have a P after them, some don't. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's the Pro class and an AM class. And the P obviously denotes the Pro class. So they are well, not necessarily the higher level drivers, but they have the higher I rating. And the guys without the P are in the AM class because they are below the cutoff.
Yeah, so I do believe I read that if your I rating was over 2,000, that was the split between Pro and AM.
I believe so.
So that's a pretty high number and a pretty respected number to get to as well.
It
So
sounds like it, yeah. Some people would think that's a fairly easily attained I rating. Believe me, it's not. I've been with I ratings since 2009, and it can go down a lot faster than it can go up.
yeah, that's definitely right. I remember the day that I just surpassed 2,000 I rating, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I was so happy, and it was such an achievement in my own driving to kind of get to that number. So it's a pretty high number, and it's kind of proven in the championship standings. As I'm looking at now, only 14 points separate the top 5 in the Pro Series. So it's a very tight championship. As we see the standings pop up on the screen right now, as we've got Stephen Banks in the lead with 330, followed by Dyson only 8 points behind. Then we've got Jackson Pringle, Tom Williams, Robbie Bradby is your top 5, Blake Fritz, Brad Fenley, Ryan Jones, Chris Island, and Scott Barton rounding out your top 10 in the Pro Series standings so far. So very, very tight and competitive as we go over to the AM.
And in the AM class, we've got Jason Martin, who's actually leading in that point standings. And Peter, I made a real mess of this last time, and I probably will again, but Peter Pavlovic, I think it is, Josh Micklemore in 3rd, James Lawrence 4th, Phil Bissett 5th, Luke Georgeson in 6th. He's actually sitting, about 4 points just outside the top 5 for the AM class. Tristan Kosh, Brad Cooper, Stephen Williams, and Scott Lefevre, who are the top 10 for your AM class here tonight.
Yeah, and both Pro and AM championships are surprisingly close. Like in other series, you don't really see it that tight. Even after 4 rounds, you kind of get the getaways. But yeah, so far so good, and the points are really tight. So you're going to have to really concentrate tonight on who you're racing and pick your battles and kind of just get through that first little stint, settle in, and try and get as many positions and sorry, I just had a mind blank. Kind of just work on your racecraft and have a plan and try and stick to plan A. If not, go B, C, and D and hope for the best.
Well, at the moment out there, we've got 5 pro drivers at the top of the timesheets with Banks, then Ryan Jones, Bottrell, McVeigh, and Williams. And the first 3 of those are all in the 147s. And then McVeigh and Williams, T. Williams, I think it's Tom, they're on 148s.
Yeah,
Peter Pavlovic just behind that, also on a 48. There's a few 48s and then a 49 with David Douglas wrapping out the top 10 there at the moment on the timesheets.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty close, especially those top two with Banks and Jones. Only 0.08 of a second separate those two around this 4.77 kilometre track. So it's about the length of a biro pen.
Yeah, it's not much in it. The guys have about 12 minutes to go, so they've only used up about 8 minutes of this qualifying session, and already seeing some of the names settling themselves in towards the top. Having said that, I do expect to see a bit of a mixture of the Pro and Am guys in the top 10 tonight. This series normally provides pretty good racing between the two classes. I don't normally see the Pro guys dominating as clearly as you might assume that they would. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Dave Douglas doesn't let numbers stand in his way, and he usually gives it a pretty good nudge there in that top 10, up to the top 5. So we'll see what he can do with this tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely close between the Pros and the AMs, and another interesting fact is the two cars sitting in P2 and 3 in qualifying at the moment are two of the brand new Chevy Corvettes as well. So they've only had 3 days practice in that car since it's been released onto the iRacing service. So we've got a few Corvettes and a few Mustangs as well already in the series for round 5 as well.
Yeah, just got to say, I personally hadn't noticed any of the new GT3 Mustangs, and I didn't know whether you had.
Yeah, I'm seeing Riley Curtis, Brad Cooper, and Jared Williams all supporting the Mustangs at the moment. So we've got at least 3 in tonight.
Going to be interesting to see what they can do with such a brand new car.
Yeah, with limited time practice, and I did hear one of my teammates actually mentioned this week that the Mustang felt a little bit floaty in the steering wheel. It handled well, but it was a bit more floaty than the Corvette. So we'll see if these drivers are up to speed in it and see how they go. And they definitely looked apart as a GT3.
Well, it would have not only the limited time for practice in that car, but it also would be limited time for a decent setup in that car, and to get that right. So that could be where the floatiness is coming from, and something that hopefully they can tune out of the setup as the series goes on.
Yeah, well, they definitely are up to speed here tonight with very competitive times up and down the leaderboard, as we've still got Stephen Banks in P1 with Andrew Dyson coming up to P2 in the Sol McLaren here tonight with Ryan Jones in P3. So a couple of the DPR boys chasing down the top spot.
All right, you go.
Yeah, we'll just jump away and get a couple of commercial breaks from the sponsors.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Pay too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
And welcome back. We are with the Everything Simulated GT3 series from Aussie Outlaws. And just keeping an eye on Riley Curtis at the moment, who's got this very interestingly painted GT3 Mustang, one of the new cars we were talking about before going to the ad break. And very interesting way he's actually done the livery on this car. It looks like it's black, but as the light shines off it, it comes up different colours. So very interesting the way he's done that. And Riley is sitting at currently about 14th on the timesheets.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting paint job, but he's always one of the ones that comes out with the quite spectacular paint jobs, as I remember from the oval series and all the oval racing that he takes part in as well. So definitely savvy, but it's, yeah, a new one for me seeing it, and it's quite well done. As we're looking at the 93 on screen now in one of the other Mustangs, and that looks quite the part.
Actually, that is Riley Curtis.
Oh, it is too.
Something funny going on there. It's just suddenly changed. It looks like Trading Paints is just dragging the chain a little bit, and it's made a liar out of us. And it's actually loaded up the delivery for the car finally. It's only taken, about 15 minutes.
Yeah, just stitched me up, but it still looks good. But yeah, as we are 5 minutes and 40 seconds left of qualifying, so we're going to have to kind of get a move on here, and these boys are going to maybe come in, get a fresh set of boots, and try for that last quick run to get a time on the board and hopefully move themselves up the order, as we've got Jones now taking over the P1 spot in with a 1:47.1, with Banks still in second with a 47.29.
Yeah, he's ripped it. Well, nearly 0.2 of a second out of the previous time by the number 8 car of Banks. So yeah, that's a pretty hot time.
Yeah,
with less than 5 minutes left on the clock, it'd be interesting to see whether somebody else can knock him off.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on, and he's definitely got that Corvette up to speed, as that's what he's running at the moment. So yeah, the last lap was his best one, as Stephen Banks is chasing hard, and we've got Dyson Foster and Lawrence rounding out your top 5 at the moment. Lawrence is an AM driver, first of the AM, as we just see Riley get a bit loose on the exit there of turn 3, which is quite easy to do. But top 4 are pro drivers, followed by Lawrence in 5th place at the moment, our top AM driver.
Yeah, and it's good to see that we're starting to get a bit of that mix in the top 10, Jai. Lawrence in 5th, Douglas in 7th, Martin in 9th, all from the AM class.
Yeah, definitely still competitive, and it is quite a hard circuit as well to get a lap time in. So these boys are really getting the most out of these cars and trying to get as high up and as good as the opportunities they can to start out this race tonight of 55 minutes around Snetterton's 300 layout.
Once you get outside the top 10, the times do start to scatter a little bit. I noticed Josh Micklemore sitting way down the timesheets on a 1:52. So, yep, there we go. 150 now, 150.9 in 18th position. And the number 5 car of Williams on a 52. So, some guys obviously not getting the pace out of the car around here that they would have hoped for, that the front runners are getting, and that's why obviously the other guys are at the top of the timesheets. They're getting those extra few seconds out of the car.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get a bit of off tracks here, just dropping wheels off. We've got that little bit of kind of extra firm ground on the other side of some of the rumble strips on the exits here, but very easy getting off track. And as I mentioned before, that turn 10 sausage curb, it's quite hard and difficult to hug the car around there, and the exit tightens up quite a lot as well. So there's a lot of time to gain and to lose around this circuit here. But we've got 19 cars so far that have set a time, and from first to 19 is a 5.7 second deficit. So a little bit of a spread field as we go further down the pack, but hopefully it will be good racing and we'll get like a few good battle packs throughout.
Yeah, fairly spread out for this qualifying session now. I expect the same thing to happen during the race, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens on those first few laps.
Yeah, especially with the start. I know quite a few years with the British Touring Car Championship coming here in real life with the starts. Sometimes they get off the line well, sometimes they don't. They're standing starts, so they're a little bit different than we'll see here tonight. But especially on the exit of turn 1 and the braking zone into turn 2 can kind of stack up a little bit. So the drivers will hopefully try and get through there nice and easy, not jumping the gun too much, and then just get into that stage where you settle in and carry on with the rest of your races. We're coming up to a minute left in qualifying now, so this is their last opportunity to kind of set a lap time and see where they end up.
As we continue to keep an eye on Riley Curtis. And he completely missed what appeared to be an apex of that corner and ran it wide on the exit.
As he's just going around the outside, letting, I believe that was Dyson through on the inside. So just getting out of the way and not impeding another driver there. Maybe just getting his nerves back under control and setting up for this last flyer lap, as we've only got 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably what he's doing. He knew the lap was gone, so he just didn't want to get tangled up with somebody else. Get his head back into the mindset that he needs it for this lap here, as this will be his final timed lap. So he's going to want to make this spot on. And the car he allowed through earlier has just done the same thing for him, because I think he actually didn't quite get the lap right, so he's just getting out of the way.
Yeah, that was Dyson there, just letting him go, and he won't get around to start another lap as we do have the checkered flag. So we've got the 400 car, I believe, of Thomas Foster. He'll be the last driver eligible to finish his lap. As we do apologise for some of the pictures being a little bit choppy at the moment. We just got a few things behind the scenes that we're just working on at the moment. So we do apologise for that, but we'll keep the pictures going and talk through the last of this as we keep an eye on Riley Curtis on his last final lap here, as we just see Dyson just pulled over for a coffee break, it seems.
Yeah, Dyson's basically done what he needs to do now. He's at the top of the timesheets. He doesn't need to push it any harder. Followed by Ryan Jones at this point, and then Foster, Banks, Williams, Martin, Lawrence, Bottrell, Douglas, and Bradbury. There's your top 10.
Yeah, definitely close, and Dyson getting provisional pole at the moment with a couple of drivers just finishing off their lap. But yeah, 1.5 tenths over teammate Ryan Jones. So at the moment, as it stands, it's going to be a DPR lockout.
And a few guys happy to not actually worry about qualifying and put that time into other things that they need to do, and start at the rear. Mark Johansson, Jamie Nankervis, Fitz and Campbell, all starting at the rear. They haven't registered a time. So they're basically going to play the long game with this and see how it unfolds in front of them.
Yeah, definitely it is one strategy. Starting from the back, you kind of let the race unfold and kind of let it fall into your lap, as they say. Definitely a lot better to not set a time and start on the grid than it is to start from pit lane, as you would already lose about 15 seconds off the pack starting from pit lane. So definitely the safer option, but not losing as much time as a pit lane start would cost you.
Yeah, I'm expecting Dyso to, well, try and make the best start that he can. gallop out to a few car lengths lead and basically lead from the front there for probably at least the first 2 or 3 laps. It depends on what the guys behind him, what they're able to do with it. If he doesn't get a good start, then he's going to have 2 or 3 of those guys all over him. And it's quite possible that he may lose a few spots on the start. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and definitely flying that McLaren flag strong as it's the sole McLaren. So everyone will be chasing those flames that come out of the back of that one.
Yeah.
But as we've got Dyson and Jones having a DPR lockout as we set the grid for round 5. So starting out of first place is Andrew Dyson alongside teammate Ryan Jones. On row 2, we have Thomas Foster and Stephen Banks starting out of 4th place. Tom Williams and Jason Martin on row 3. Row 4 is James Lawrence and Nick Botterill. Row 5 is Dave Douglas and Robbie Bradbury starting out of 10th place.
Starting out of 11th, we've got Damien McBay and alongside him Steve Lefevre on row 6. Row 7, Peter Pavlovic and Bradley J. Cooper. Row 8 is Riley Curtis and Carl Withy. Row 9 will be Josh Micklemore in the number 31 and Brad Fenley in the pro class in the 59. Row 10, Jared Williams in 96 and Blake Fitz in the 686 car.
And then on row 11, we've got Scott Barton and Jamie Nankervis. Row 12, Brett Campbell and Mark Johansson. The last 4 drivers not electing to set a time, so we'll see them drivers coming from the back and see what they can do.
Mark Johansson, of course, being the organiser and admin for this series, and Jamie Nankervis also, I believe, an admin for the series. And somebody's jumping the gun a little bit there.
Yeah, Jonesy's definitely getting ready to rip, roar and take off as the Porsche safety car leads the pack away down the back straight. So we've only got a short pace lap here, about half the track, and just enough time for them to set up. But we'll see them come around turn 13, which is a tight corner. Hopefully they give each other room and we get a nice 2x2 start.
Yeah, Riley probably thought he was pulling alongside a teammate there because the Porsche pace car has actually got the same colour scheme on it. So.
Yeah, definitely looking very, very similar. But we've got the top 5 as pro drivers, and Jason Martin is the first AM driver, with Lawrence right behind him as well. So definitely tight as we see the flames shoot out of the back of that McLaren as we're just coming around the last couple of corners.
It's a spectacular look, Joy.
Oh, it definitely is, Steve, and it's something that definitely distracts me when I'm following one of the McLarens, and I always end up in the wall because I get distracted by the pretty flames. Also going with the black livery, which is a bit of an alternate livery for the DPR boys, but definitely easier to separate them as the Porsche safety car is just entering pit lane. So we see the boys all stack up here 2x2 and waiting for the green flag.
Yeah, Stephen Williams is in the same team, but he's about 5 rows back in this starting order as they come across the grid and approach the line, and Dyson's up under it. Ryan Jones trying to go with him. Dyso's making sure that he shuts the door on that one.
Yeah, definitely a very uniform start from the DPR boys, going single file as soon as they can, as we've got the top 5 cars now single file and then 2 wide all the way back coming into the turn 2 hairpin for the first time.
Well, there's 2 PER cars right behind them, and they're going to want those spots at the front.
They'll be chasing very hard with Stephen Banks in the Audi and Foster in the Ferrari as well. So a bit of a mixture of manufacturers up the front, but we see everyone just getting into single file as they're coming into the infield section here at Snetterton for the first time.
Second.
That's still pretty uniform here with Dyson shooting the flames out the back of that McLaren as we come into the tight turn 6. Jones tucked in behind that rear wing pretty close with Banks, Foster and Martin giving chase. So they rip raw down the back straight here for the first time as well under the bridge. Dyson just trying to break the draft a little bit or get some more temperature in those tyres as he gets to the hard braking zone coming around turn 9 into turn 10 where their sausage curve is. So nice and delicate with Jones right on his arse end there. So definitely putting the pressure on his teammate from the beginning, but a little bit of a gap now opening up back to Banks in that third place.
Yeah, sorry, Joy. I actually needed to get up, walk around in the booth there for a minute. The old joints are starting to get to me a bit.
Nah, it's all right. Always have to stretch the legs, and sometimes the excitement gets you up as well.
Well, it does too, but in this instance, it was I needed to crack my knees back into place. So yeah, with Dyson still leading from Jones, Banks, Foster, and Martin rounding out your top 5. That's 4 pro drivers and an AM. And in the remaining 5 drivers in the top 10, you've got 3 pro and 2 AM drivers in Lawrence and Douglas, which are in 9th and 10th at the moment.
Yeah, we definitely have that mixture with Jason Martin as well. First of our AM drivers holding 5th position on the first lap. I think he's actually gone up 1 position, I believe. But the top 10 is still quite tucked in together. And then there's about a second gap from Dave Douglas in 10th place back to Blake Fitz. So the gaps are steady, but some are starting to open up as we see the 2 DPR boys holding out over the PER boys as Dyson goes a little bit wide there, but should be okay. As we get our first replay.
We've got an early. Now, I believe that's Stephen Williams in a DPR car. It's Damien McBay. It is a DPR car, but Damien McBay in the 923, not Stephen Williams. And jumping to Riley Curtis, who's really getting some good things done with that brand new. And no sooner do I say that than he does loop it. That's part of the replay. So there is a stepped out on him there. Yeah, it is early, so plenty of time for Riley to actually make that up.
Yeah, it was a little bit loose on corner entry there by the look of it, and then maybe a little bit of netco just tipped the front, and that was enough to kind of turn it around. And with that,
fortunately, no contact in that though, Joy.
Yeah, definitely no damage by the look of it. So just a bit of warm tyres and a bit more wear on them, and should be right to get going once more as he is actually in pit lane, Riley Curtis.
Riley won't be too happy with himself, but at the same time, he needs to get his head back into it. It's only early in this. Lap 3 of 31. There's a lot of time to make up here, and it won't be the last time that we actually see a car do that tonight. So he's decided to actually pit that for the moment. Looks like the front end damage there, but I didn't see him contact anything when he looped it.
Yeah, there may have been a secondary contact there. As we've just spun around, he's flicked it around, got it going.
It doesn't look like it. He may have contacted something after that, but certainly not seeing it. But sitting in the pits, it's definitely. There it goes. Yep. It was a secondary lose and contact with the guardrail. So, he's pitted that, and interested to see what he decides to do from this point on, Joy.
Yeah, I think that Audi was just letting him go. It may have caught him out by surprise, a little bit too quick onto the entry, and then just the arson has kind of let go a bit. But the tyres may have still been warm from the flick spin he had to do at turn 3 when he did go around.
He appeared to get off the racing line going past that Audi. Coming into that right-hand turn, and he was actually on the right-hand side of the track. So, he definitely seemed he was going to miss the apex, and I think that's what's caused that. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a shame, but he's been there getting his damage. We've also got James Lawrence has had just a bit of a internet issue and he's had to leave and rejoin, so he'll be looking to kind of do a bit of a recovery drive, sadly now.
Yeah,
trying to get back.
technical issues can bite you when you least expect it.
Yeah, it's definitely right. As we've also got Dave Douglas in pit lane at the moment as well, so he's maybe
An early stop for Dave.
The early strategy.
But the order at the top, still Dyson over Jones, over the two PER cars of Banks and Foster. Tom Williams in, well, we're a bit mixed up there at the moment. It's sixth, but I think it's fifth. And then Jason Martin, Nick Bottrell, Bradbury, Fitz, and Lefebvre is your top 10 at the moment. We're just trying to keep an eye on what's happening outside the top 10 in case you're following a driver that is sitting further back in the field. So we've got Cooper, Bartine, I don't know how to pronounce that, Pavlovic, Carl Withy in 14th, and Fenley rounds out the top 15 in the VB machine.
Yeah, it's definitely spread still between our pro and AM drivers, and we've got Nick Botterill in sixth place at the moment, one of our pro drivers. He's a current holder of the quickest lap of the race at a 48.2, as it just got passed by Dyson with a 47.7. So the guys at the front are still kind of stretching their legs, as the gap is only still half a second and another half second between second and third and fourth. So tight at the front, and then starts to open up a little bit the further we go back.
Yep, and somebody a little bit loose there, but seemed to catch it, one of the new Corvettes. Just as the camera angle changed, he got a little bit wiggly and seemed to catch it. So that was fortunate for Nick Bottrell.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing and maybe just overheating those tyres. But as if we're possibly able to go on board with Botterill, just to kind of have a look inside that new Corvette and see how much of a handful it is, and see him like really pushing and kind of give the viewers a bit of an insight or an inside look to what this thing looks like from the inside as well.
Yeah, a little bit ginger coming out of that that last couple of turns there. He's not getting on the power as quickly as I would have assumed he was. A lot of power in these cars, so he's been very tentative with it at the moment in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, just slowly working in, but I do notice right in the center bottom of that dashboard that he doesn't actually run ABS in this car at the moment, so it's all by the driver feel and not electing to have that assist, as we do have that available in the GT3 League.
And just want to take a chance to say good day and thank you to a couple of our sponsors. The Everything Simulated, Lucas Oils, the Pluckers Setup Shop, and of course Aerial Auto Art, as well as I believe it's Outlaw Slot Cars. And thanks very much for those sponsors coming on board and helping to support what we do. It's very difficult to do it without their assistance.
Yeah, it's definitely right, and especially with the long-standing sponsorship that a lot of those people have brought to this league as well. It's very outstanding and very appreciated. And as Steve said, without those sponsors being on board, it does make things difficult to bring the viewers these kind of races and this community that is brought out every week in and out for quite a long while now. So thank you again to everyone that has jumped on board and makes all this possible.
So very, a little bit wide there in the number 9 Corvette, and he's got one of the PER cars all over the back of him. So he's desperately trying to hang on to that spot as one of the other PER cars, the AMG, succumbs to one of the new GT3 Mustangs in car 93. That's Riley Curtis, I believe, we've lost his livery again. Yeah,
the pit crew's done a pretty good job getting the front end of that car, but obviously forgot to re-sticker the car as he's been sent back out. But Riley back out there doing some laps, and a bit of a recovery drive for Riley as well. But with the championship being so close, every point really matters. So you never know who might have another issue further on down the track, and a few points is could mean everything in the end of the championship at the end of the season.
Well, on lap 7 of 31, there's a long way to go in this, and anything can happen. So getting back out there, and it is a championship, so all the points matter, as you said, Jai. So getting back out there and making it happen is really the name of the game. You don't know what issues other drivers are going to have throughout the race, and you could benefit purely on rate of attrition.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as we've got just one car just getting a bit loose on the exit of turn 2, as he flicks spins. That's, I believe, Stephen Banks, Blake Fitz.
Yeah, the 686 car, we're going to go to an instant replay of that one. And it looks like he just looped it coming out of the turn there. Maybe on the power just a little bit too soon on that, well, you'd call it a hairpin, I suppose that's what it is. And he's just tried to get on the power a little bit too soon, up across the ripple strip, and no traction, no control, and around she goes.
Yeah, quite easily done, as he has entered pit lane now, so electing just to do that pit stop. As we do have a pit window, these boys could have entered the pit lane as soon as the end of lap 1, but as long as they do their pit stop before the 45-minute mark, so 10 minutes to go, that's in the compulsory pit stop window, which is fuel and all 4 tyres.
As we, again, just keep an eye on Andrew Dyson, who's dominating this so far. And with his teammate Ryan Jones still in behind him, and the PER cars of Banks and Foster not letting them get away with it, although Dyso's opened up several car lengths over this trio here. Ryan Jones is definitely, he knows those PER cars are there.
Yeah, they're definitely keeping Jonesy honest here in P2. But yeah, Dyson, 1.8 second lead, back to Ryan Jones, and then this little battle pack of 3 cars, which all, like, there's 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 as well, all battling. So quite nice, as Banks just showed the nose there to Jonesy, and just making sure he knows that he's there.
Yeah, just poked his nose down on the left-hand side of Jones there, and I don't know whether he was trying to make the move. I think he just wanted to let Ryan Jones know he was there, and he's ready to pounce when the opportunity presents itself. But these 3 battling like this, and Jones trying to defend, is only going to help Dyson, like, just build that gap. Dyson has got not a care in the world at the moment, so he can just simply just continue to drive away in any fashion that he sees fit, whereas Jones is not wanting to give up a spot to the 2 cars behind him from PER.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping them behind him quite well at the moment, but all is fair. Yeah, just through that infield then, when Banks had a little bit of a look on Jones, Dyson was able to get about a 2 to 3 tenth gain out of just that little move alone. So Jonesy might be just looking in his mirrors a little bit more and allowing Dyson to kind of skip away at the moment. As we take a look a little bit further back to a little battle pack of 3 here, Peter Pavlik in the 216. Another PER driver, I believe, in the Sol Mercedes tonight. So we've got a couple of Sol drivers in certain cars, as we look just in front to James Lawrence in 19th. He had the little bit of a connection issue before. So
yeah, that certainly hurt him.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot further down the leaderboard, because I do believe he was leading the AM class when that unfortunate event happened. But he is only 1 lap down at the moment, so plenty of time left to pick up a few more points, as we've got the 66 of Scott Lefebvre. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, but Scott's in pit lane at the moment, electing to take his pit stop 19 minutes into this one.
As jump across to Scott Lefebvre, and then back to Andrew Dyson again in first place, the number 41 McLaren, the only McLaren in the field, as Jai's mentioned a couple of times, and we can tell because it's got those wild flames out of the back.
No, it's definitely a sight to see that McLaren, especially. I remember following one. I think it was in one of the Le Mans 24 hours, and for a good 45 minutes, all I was seeing was the flames coming out of the back of that McLaren. As I think that was Mark Joe just entering pit lane as Dyson went past the entry there, electing to do his pit stop. As we see Dyson being millimetre perfect there all the way through turn 1, using all the track, and just a little bit of a slide coming out of turn 2 as he gets the power down, but still just opening up that gap a little bit more. It's about 3 more tenths since we last mentioned the gap. It's now 2.5 seconds back to Ryan Jones, and then Stephen Banks and Tom Foster chasing down very hard as Tom Williams is back there, the back of the picture there, about 7.5 seconds behind in that Porsche.
And with all the information that I'm aware of, the McLaren is a difficult car to drive and to get right. But at this point, seeing this performance, you'd have to say that Andrew Dyson's got a handle on how to drive this car.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And it is quite an odd car out of the GT3 stable. I do believe it's one of the oldest GT3 cars available on the iRacing service. But definitely got his handle around it and drives it well, and just holding that gap at the moment at 2.5 seconds. But yeah, you don't see many people using the McLaren nowadays on iRacing, which is personally quite
I don't believe so. It certainly doesn't get used as much as an Audi or Ferrari. It really is a car that you don't see too much of in the GT3 races, but Andrew Dyson's run with it, and he seems perfectly happy with it out there. And as I said, it's obvious that Dyso's got a handle on how to drive this McLaren. The proof's in the pudding, and the gap that he's put on his teammate in second place, Ryan Jones, he's done pretty well with it.
Yeah, he definitely is, as we just zone in on this little 2-car battle at the moment between Bradbury and Barton. Very close as Barton just looks around the outside, hopefully maybe gonna try and get a run out of the corner. But this is going a pretty good battle here at the moment, and all while this is happening, Jason Martin just behind that in the Audi, slowly creeping himself into this battle as well. So soon to be a 3-car battle.
Yeah, very shortly we're going to see Jason all over the back of these guys, but he seems to be quite happy to sit there and watch what they're going to do. And they're going side by side. And I think he's pretty happy to just watch that at the moment without letting them get away. In perhaps even with the hope that one may tag the other and he can pick up 2 spots in one hit.
Yeah, he's definitely got the best seat in the house to hopefully make that happen, as we've just seen Barton get around Bradbury at the moment. So Bradbury might be just a little bit on the defence now, with Martin right on his tail now, as Barton will be eyes forward and trying to skip away here at the moment with a 1.5 second gap back to behind Bottle. So he'll be looking eyes forward and try and close that gap in and progress another position.
But the pro class drivers are definitely dominating this at the moment. The first 8 positions are all in the pro class. And then the men we were just talking about, Jason Martin in 9th and Brad Cooper in 10th.
As you see, Brad Cooper, he's not too far, only about 0.8 of a second, I believe, behind Martin on the scoring. I'm not sure if that's completely correct.
As we take another look at the 93 car as well, still circulating. Dave Douglas, who was doing well earlier, down 2 laps at the moment in 21st position.
Yeah, he's just retired.
Out, has he? Okay.
Yeah, so he's bringing that into pit lane and retire that car, sadly. So he will no longer be in this race. We've still got 18 cars at the moment circulating around, and we've got 3 cars out of those 18 that have done their pit stop. So 25 minutes in, about half an hour to go now, and we're just before that halfway mark in this race. So we might see a few more cars maybe splitting 50-50, or we might see them pit a bit later on, brand new tyres, less fuel, maybe get a few positions that way. But yeah, the strategy is still all to play for.
Yeah, there's still plenty of points on the table out there, Jai. So there's guys there that are persevering purely for the points, remembering that we do have 2 classes out there as well. So guys that were doing well earlier in the race that were leading their class, or in the AM class, for instance, may have had a little bit of bad luck, and they're just simply trying to get back into that because that's the championship that they want to win. And as I said, people appear to be dropping off and having issues, so that's benefiting some of these guys who are down further in the field and moving them up.
Yeah, it's definitely right. And just a quick shout out to Mark Joe and the other people that contribute to running this league, is with all the names in the server, having that P next to their names to determine if they're pro or am really makes it easier for a driver to actually pick their battles on the racetrack as well. So if there's a pro driver coming up to an AM driver, they know not to fight them too much because they're not really the ones that they're fighting overall. So it takes a little bit extra time from the admin team, but just hats off to them to kind of taking that time and making it easier for the drivers as well, just to pick their battles and really create the good racing and know
Absolutely.
when to attack and not when to kind of just give it up a little bit and let the others race their race and concentrate on your one.
Yeah, exactly right. But without the effort of the league admins, I mean, this obviously wouldn't be taking place the way it is. G'day to a couple of people in the social, in the live chat. G'day to Sarah Kay and to Mr. Ed Foster, who's out there and bringing to our attention Mr. Carl Whitty is still out there and circulating in the BMW.
Yeah, we've got Carl still running around in 13th position at the moment. He's another sole driver tonight in the only BMW on the track at the moment.
Yeah, normally Ed's in there with a lime green or noticeably green BMW, but not out on track tonight. Not actually running in this round. But yeah, Carl's out there. He's having a go, and he's sitting actually not that far outside the top 10. So, depending upon how the rest of this race goes, we approach the last half of the race. All he really needs is 2 or 3 guys to have a bit of a whoopsie or a bad run, and he can find himself inside the top 10 and getting some very nice points.
No, he's definitely doing well at the moment. As the last lap, he was his fastest lap of the race, as a 1:51 flat. So he's definitely still pushing and going quicker and quicker, as he is in a little bit of no man's land at the moment. He's got Jared Williams right behind him, battling away as well. So that's just a little 2-car battle to keep him on his toes, but definitely doing well in 13th position. As we still having a look at this second, third, and fourth battle. Still pretty close. Opened up a little bit, but yeah, definitely keeping each other honest.
Oh yeah, look, yeah. The order has not changed, but these guys are battling second, third, and fourth. There, Ryan Jones, Steve Banks, and was it Tim Foster? Yeah, the 2 PER boys of Foster and Banks. Still letting Jones know they're there. They're not letting him get away. Jones is managing to hold that. He's probably in a bit of a groove there at the moment. They don't appear to be getting close enough to bother him too much, but his teammates Andrew Dyson. He's skipped away down the front there and done the disappearing trick. And I'm unable to answer that question in the live chat at the moment. I don't know whether Carl still has his 80s chash. I don't know. He does. Okay, I've been told by the producer he does still have it. So there you go.
As we see,
And I can tell you, it's a little bit 80s porn starish on Carl. That's what it looks like. What's his name? Jeremy something?
just something to catch all the tea in the stash. Just
That's
saving
right.
it for
Being a British-born citizen, he probably likes a good cup of tea. So it was actually done for an '87 NASCAR race, which was a throwback round, and grew the tash purely for that. But he hasn't gotten rid of it; he's kept it. But yeah, out there circulating, he's still sitting just outside the top 10. Is Mr. Carl Whitty, and good to see him out there and having a good crack and running well too.
Yeah, definitely right. Keeping it on the black stuff and circulating around this wonderful UK track, so he might feel right at home being from the UK. But we've just ticked over 31 minutes in this race, so we're getting down to the pointy end with only 4 cars, I believe, have made their pit stop. So still a lot of strategy and when to pit, and trying not to get caught up in traffic on the in-lap or out-lap would be a big thing as well. But Dyson just dipping out to a 5.3 second lead now. He's lost 0.2 this lap so far. So he might be just calming down or might have made a mistake, but definitely quite a big gap now to kind of use as a safety net. So if, say, Jones or Banks pit, and there is a bit of an undercut, he's got that lap or two up his sleeve to kind of just protect that as well. So we'll see how that goes, as Brad Cooper in the 093 Ford Mustang has elected to take his pit stop now.
Well, yes, he's building that back up, that gap. It was out to 5.6, 5.7 seconds. Dropped back to about 5.1 through that little complex in the track there. But he's pushed it back out. Now it's dropped back again. So he seems to be just maintaining a decent gap, running perhaps to a lap time, knowing that he's got that gap, that lead, and waiting to see what happens with the 3 or 4 cars behind him and their pit stops when they decide to go, and he'll decide when he needs to go. But Dyso's definitely got this race by the scruff of the neck at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely right, and just having that little safety net as well. But we might just step away for a few minutes and just get a word from our sponsors as well. So we'll be right back with you on lap 17 of 31.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to round 5 of the Everything Simulated GT3 series. We are 35 minutes into this race, so coming up to 20 minutes to go. We've got a fair few cars now. Stephen Banks and Tom Williams, the closest ones to the front that are actually in pit lane now as we speak. Scott Barton's just completed his stop. Jason Martin also in pit lane at the moment. So pit lane is getting pretty busy right about now.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where the guys are starting to decide that it's a good time to get some tyres. The dry conditions mean that some of these guys have been battling in amongst packs of cars and probably haven't been able to find the opportunity to look after their rubber to make it last till later in the race. So as fresh set of rubber, we'll see a few things possibly even turned on their head as one of the Valve Porsches leaves the pit lane. Carl Withy up a spot for those keeping count, and he's in the AM class and only 2 spots outside the top 10.
Yeah, he's definitely doing quite well, keeping it on track. Still yet to pit, so Carl will be playing the long game with that one as we just have a look at Brad Fenley moving to the side for Scott Barton, who's already made his pit stop. He is 2 laps out from his pit stop as well, so he's have those tyres nice and warm and looking to crack on and complete the last 20 minutes of this one.
And Brad Fenley's got the lights blaring there on the front of his car, so whether he's trying to send a message or I've got no idea what, but he's allowed Scott through. But notice that he's actually got all the lights on across the front of the car, so I don't know what that's about. But Scott certainly making headway through this race in the 009 car, sitting in 8th place at the moment, which actually makes him 8th in, well, no, I've got him, yeah, I believe he's in 8th place, and he's in the pro class, so he's sitting inside the top 10 for that class at the moment as well.
Yeah, definitely doing well as we've got the first 9 drivers on track at the moment, all in the pro class with Martin and Pavlovic, the first 2 in the AM class, with a few more drivers yet to stop. So that'll all sort itself out most likely in the last couple of laps as we are starting to wind down to the end of this one as we have a look at Peter Pavlik at the moment in P11, just coming through that final corner now onto the main straight, really opening it up down this long straightaway before the hard braking into turn 1 and the hairpin at turn 2. But all these guys doing really well. No real big incidents, and everyone settling in and racing their own race and picking their battles as we've got Brad Fenley now in pit lane.
And Fenley now leaving the pit, so he's done his compulsory stop. I think that's the first time he's stopped tonight.
Yeah, so that one's his first stop. We've got Jones on his out lap as well, so he's just made his compulsory pit stop. So we are left with Dyson, Foster, Bottle, and Bradbury is your top 4, all yet to pit, with Jones being the first one that has elected to pit now. But we've got Stephen Banks, who stopped 1 lap earlier, right on Jones's tail now on a bit warmer tyres. So this will be an interesting battle and see if Jones can keep Banks behind him.
Yeah, Jones has managed to do so far, but it's not to say that Banks hasn't put any real serious effort into passing him. Banks will find an opportunity here at some point, and he will make the move when it's there. I don't think he's going to do anything really, especially we've still got a bit of time left in this race. Stephen Banks, he'll want to keep close to him, and he moves out there, but then decides it's not the place to do it. He'll find a spot, a little chink in the armour for Ryan Jones, and he will get past him at some point. But Andrew Dyson is in no fear of that happening with him at the moment. He's got a 7-second lead over Tom Foster.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a still steady and quite a nice lead that Dyson does have over second place of Tom Foster. But Banks just showing the nose and just filling up the mirrors of Jones's Corvette, just here and there, keeping the pressure on. And Banks will be really looking to try and get past Jones, as he is only 8 points. Or he is only 8 points in front of Dyson in the championship as it stands at the moment. And also Jackson Pringle is on the same points as Andrew Dyson, but I believe he's not here tonight, so that may hurt his championship. But yeah, Banks definitely wanting that extra position just to kind of not allow Dyson to get too many points closer to him in the championship as well.
As Banks continues to just sit where he needs to be at the moment. I mean, from his point of view in the driver's seat, he'll be noticing little spots around the track where he may have a bit of an edge and maybe a little bit of a burst of speed, somewhere he feels that he can position himself and try and take this spot away from Jones. He certainly won't be letting Jones get away. He'll be keeping with him and waiting for that opportunity. At the same time, as good as these guys are, there's still the possibility, as Jones runs fairly wide to the right there across the ripple strip. So that shows a little bit of a mistake on Jones's part. You don't see too often from him.
Nah, definitely not. It's quite precise driving by Ryan Jones, and just a little bit too much curb on the inside of there and just unsettled the car. But just goes to show he might be under a little bit of pressure from Banks looking in his mirrors a little bit more. But another battle, or not so much a battle. There's about an 8-second gap between the two, but Jason Martin leading the AM class tonight with Peter Pavlik running in P2 in the AMs. They're only separated by 1 point in the championship as well, so that's another battle that Martin will kind of just want to keep that safety net over Peter Pavlik here tonight, just to extend that little championship in the AM class as well.
Yeah, and, those two positions you're just talking about, that is 9th and 10th on track at the moment in the standings, and 1st and 2nd in the AM class. And sitting just outside the top 10 in 11th spot is McBay, who's in the pro class, and then Cooper, Fenley in the pro class in 13th, Carl Withy 14th, he's dropped back a couple of spots, Josh Micklemore 15th. So he's sort of going to be pushing for an extra couple of spots up and take those points in the AM class.
Yeah, definitely right. Every point does matter at the end of the championship. And yeah, with, as you mentioned, McBay in P11, he was one of the cars that had that little incident on lap 2, just spun the car on lap on turn 1 as well. So he's done a really good job, a really good recovery drive at the moment, and just knocking on the door out of that P10.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I'd say Carl's dropped back a couple of spots because I'm guessing he's probably done his compulsory stop. So that's just cost him. He's dropped from 12th to 14th. But I'm not completely sure on the gap between himself and Micklemore.
About 20 seconds on track is the gap.
Yeah, they're pretty close, actually. There's less than a second between them looking at that. So, oh, is it? Okay, I thought that was the gap back from first. So, okay, so they're 20 seconds apart. So Carl's pretty safe there at the moment.
Yeah, he's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He's got 20 seconds back to Micklemore, and he's 21 seconds behind Brad Fenley as well.
Yeah, Fenley being in the pro class. So I think the next AM car to Carl Withy is Brad Cooper, and he's a fair way up track and 2 spots.
As we've got a replay just popping up now, we've got Jared Williams in one of the new Mustangs. Just going a bit slow here off the track, so we'll just go have a look. Just maybe outbraked himself just coming into that turn there. So just a little bit of an off track, but
he's missed the apex, outbraked himself, and just had a little bit wide onto the dirt off the edge of the track, and he's just struggling to get it back where he wants it to be because he's got other cars coming through on his inside. And we're going to take a look at Brad Cooper.
Just a bit of a drifty boy there. A little light contact on the left-hand front, just
Oh,
on the
yes.
guardrail as he's kind of got back to it, but
I see where
shouldn't
the
be too much
confusion is
damage.
now. Oh, yeah. The 93 and 093, Brad Cooper and Riley Curtis. So, yeah, Riley's obviously out of this, and Brad Cooper's in the 093, not the 93, sorry.
As we've just got another replay popping up now. Sorry, we've gone back live.
With Brad Cooper.
So we've got Robbie Bradbury currently in P1, the only car yet to pit, as he might be in a little bit of trouble here, as we've just hit the 45-minute mark, and he hasn't made his pit stop.
Yeah, if he doesn't go in on this lap, I think he might have a problem.
As the compulsory pit stop was at the end of lap 1 up to the 45-minute mark, so it might have just been a slight misjudge with the math, or I'm not too sure, but at the moment he's got Dyson right behind him, a second behind, and then Dyson has, through that pit cycle, gained about a second over Jones.
And there goes Bradbury now. He's actually taken his compulsory stop, and that puts Dyson back in the lead. So, yeah, Dyson's fairly comfortably, not really. Technically, yes, he's lost the lead to Bradbury there for about a lap or two, but really he was always been in command of this race, because the only reason Bradbury was in front of him because he hadn't done a pit stop yet.
Yeah, definitely correct, and he's just done a 1:46.576 on his last lap, which is Dyson. So he's definitely still pushing, as we see Bradbury still in pits. There he goes, just coming over the bumps here at Snetterton. As it's slightly uphill, this pit lane, so the actual stopping lane in front of the garages are a little bit bumpy at times, especially in a car as low as his GT3 car. But we see Bradbury just rejoining the track now after his pit stop, which is the last driver to complete their compulsory pit stops.
Yeah, so Dyso's obviously fairly comfortable there at the moment. I mean, he's laying down qualifying times in his race laps. So, yeah, he's obviously doing fairly well in the car. He's not much to worry about. He's got about a 7-second lead to his teammate, Ryan Jones, who's still holding off Stephen Banks and Tom Foster.
Yeah, he's definitely extending that lead. And Dyson stopped about 2 to 3 laps on average after majority of those front runners as well. So a little bit of an overcut, gaining the second to second and a half that he did in that pit cycle. Still shooting the flames, but yeah, it's at this stage it's Dyson's race to lose, and he's done well. But with this battle with Jones, Banks, and Foster, it's definitely been the battle to watch tonight. And probably nice and tight after this one, being in the battle for the entirety of this race, which has been really good.
And leader of the AM class at the moment, Jason Martin, sitting in 8th position. So he's moved up one. With Ray Bradbury, who's just done his pit stop behind him. And then Peter Pavlovic in 10th, and that's second place in the AM class, Peter Pavlovic. Oh, Stephen Banks really letting Ryan Jones know he's there.
Yeah, definitely had a bit of a dip there, and yeah, definitely firing up this battle as we are really getting close to the end of this one. So Banks is running a little bit out of time, but with Thomas Foster only 1.3 seconds behind these two right now, he's in the best set of the house if something does happen with Jones and Banks, but be very quickly turned into a 3-car battle if something happens, as Banks just has a little bit of a blink there. So we just have to keep an eye on that, and hopefully that settles down as he gets closer to Jones again.
Well, Banks will be fully aware that he's running out of time pretty fast now. I mean, he had plenty of time up his sleeve, but Jones is not really presenting him with any opportunities to get by. Every time Banks thinks he can put the nose down inside or outside, Jones just doesn't put the car where he needs it, where Banks needs him to. So he's not really getting a chance to get through, and that says a lot about the driving of Ryan Jones.
Yeah, he's just still driving millimetre perfect, just covering off where he needs to, and keeping that Corvette in front of that Audi, as he did hit that sausage curb that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast at turn 10. So just pushing that little bit extra now and cutting it quite fine. But hopefully doesn't hit it too hard, because that curb really will unsettle the car and open up a very big opportunity if that happens for Stephen Banks to zip on through.
We're getting down to around the 5 laps to go, 5-6 laps to go now as they come off the front straight. And still, this battle has been going on since the start of the race. We've had 26 laps of this, except for when they pitted, and even then it was only a temporary reprieve of Ryan Jones, Stephen Banks, and Tom Foster. And Tom Foster seems quite happy to sit back there behind Stephen Banks, see how this eventuates. He hasn't really made a move on Stephen Banks, although there have been times where he could have. But he's been quite content to just sit behind his teammate and wait to see how it turns out. Banks is the one trying to make the moves on Ryan Jones at the moment, and he's rapidly running out of laps and opportunities. So it's very interesting to see how these last few laps are going to go, because the only man in the field that couldn't care less would be Andrew Dyson at the moment, and he's still running 7.5 seconds in front of Ryan Jones. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely ramping up as Foster actually just set his fastest lap of the race at a 8:47.0, which was 0.6 quicker than Banks and Jones on the previous lap as well. So he's just closing in as these two battle on, and it's looking to be a 3-car battle. But will Foster take the opportunity to pass Banks if he does get it, as Banks is leading the championship at the moment? So we'll see if he does the protection of the teammate, or if they're free to race and kind of have a dip if they can, but still trying to hunt down Jones at the moment.
Well, there were probably times throughout this where Foster would have had an opportunity to challenge Banks, but I think he's just been quite happy to sit there in 4th place, follow his teammate, and wait to see how it eventuates with this battle in front of him between Banks and Jones. But Jones is just not giving Banks any opportunities whatsoever. As I said before, every time Banks finds somewhere to stick the nose down the inside of the outside, Jones just doesn't quite put the car where Banks needs him to, so he can't actually make the move and get through. And that's really, unless something unexpected happens, I don't see there being a major change in these positions, and I think we're looking at our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because Foster doesn't appear to be making any real effort to get past Banks at all.
Yeah, he's definitely looking very comfortable, settled in, but definitely a 3rd and a 4th is better than finishing well down the order if you get it into each other. And the last person you want to have contact with is your teammate. So
yeah. Exactly.
Seeing a couple of these guys, like with Jones and Banks, just gone a little bit wider on some of these exits, so they might have just saved a few of those incident points up, just to kind of allow themselves the opportunity, if it does present itself, just to get a little bit of a better exit, as we just see one of the winners off the track.
Yeah, somebody off the track there. They've obviously run wide at that turn and having to rejoin.
But luckily it didn't affect this little 3-car battle group as well. So these guys still racing on, as we see Foster just clip that sausage curb there on the inside, but it's getting closer between these three.
As we click over to, what's that, 4 laps to go?
5 minutes, I do believe, to go, as we still focus on this 3-car battle. Jason Martin still leading the AM class. He's in P8 at the moment as well.
Okay, so a few minutes to go with around about 146, 147 lap times at the moment, which is what Andrew Dyson, I believe, is still putting down, and maintaining a 7.5 second gap back to 2nd place, Ryan Jones, who's still holding off Stephen Banks in 3rd, Tom Foster 4th. Nick Bottrell is putting in a fairly respectable 5th place. Tom Williams in 6th. Barton in 7th. Jason Martin, the first of the AM class, in 8th. Bradbury 9th. Pavlovic, the 2nd place AM car, is in 10th position at the moment.
Yeah, and Barton in P7 at the moment. He is our biggest mover for the race, coming from 21st position on the start grid all the way up to 7th.
So
He was
that's a
one
good
of the
drive.
drivers that elected not to qualify.
Yeah, no,
But
good drive from Barton there.
Yeah, definitely a good drive, and yeah, 14 places is a pretty decent whack and definitely good for the points. So he's elected to kind of have the safest start and just
When,
chip him off as the race has gone through, which is he's done quite nicely.
when you consider some of the guys who have not completed this race, I mean, Dave Douglas started towards the front, and Riley Curtis both out. Some other guys either still running or out of the race that are further back in the field, that sort of thing. So yeah, that sort of really makes the drive by Barton a little bit better than what it makes it look even better as we take a look at the number 22 car.
Yeah, he's Tom Williams in the 22 car, I believe, from Valve Esports.
Valve Esports, yep.
Yeah, he's got a bottle right behind him, battling away. So they're just chipping away and seeing if they can get as many points as possible. But this is the battle at the end of the top 5. Oh, 4/5, sorry. It's a battle for 5th.
Yeah, so yes, it's a battle for 5th. Both these guys are in the pro class, Bottrell and Williams. And Barton is around about, nearly 5 seconds back further down track. So he's not really much of a threat to him at this point with this last couple of minutes of the race to go. Jason Martin pretty happy to be in 8th there at the moment. He'll win the M class. And we look at Ryan Jones in the number 11, still holding on to 2nd place ahead of Banks, and then Foster behind him in 4th, with Williams holding out 5th place.
And we also have Robbie Bradbury separating Jason Martin and Peter Pavlik as well. So that's a few more points for Martin just to extend that championship lead.
Yep.
Here in round 5. So just the extra little bit of points, a bit more of a safety net as
certainly
winds down.
Certainly helped Jason with the AM class, because with Bradbury in between, that's a full track position worth of points between them for Martin to extend his run for the AM class.
No, it's been definitely good battles here on out tonight, and especially this 3-car battle that we keep focusing on with Jones, Banks, and Foster. Definitely keeping each other honest, and they're probably going to be the tiredest out of the lot of them here tonight. Just not having that opportunity just to ease up at all, as we've got Dyson still holding that lead over Jones by about 7 seconds. So he's just probably looking at that number and just doing exactly what he needs to do and have that little bit of a safety net if he does make a mistake. But yeah, definitely the battle of the race was Jones, Banks, and Foster.
Yeah, he's completely dominated this race from start to finish, pretty much. And as I said, he gave up the lead for about a lap and a half, 2 laps maybe, to Bradbury during the pit stop sequence. But as soon as Bradbury went in for his compulsory stop right on the limit of when he needed to, Dyson took the lead back. And so he's pretty much dominated this race from the start. He started on pole. He's held first place for 99.9% of the race. You would hate for something to happen to cost him the win.
Yeah, it's definitely right, and definitely his race to lose at the moment, as I believe he has just taken the white flag of this race. So only one more lap to go, only 4.7 kilometres, and then Dyson will take the flag for round 5. So just still shooting those flames out of the back of the McLaren, just doing exactly what he needs to do. He's actually extended that gap by about 0.2 of a second over the last lap. So just still pushing, but very well controlled and well calculated race.
Yeah, no, he's driven a brilliant race, really. I mean, as I said, he started on pole. He's led 99.9% of the race. He's got a lot to be happy with tonight.
Yeah, definitely right. And I believe if it was Formula 1, it would be the Grand Slam, as you said, got pole. is looking like he's going to take the win, and he's also got the fastest lap as of a 46.5. So got all three boxes ticked tonight.
Well, fastest qualifying lap, fastest race lap. Yeah, starting from pole, leading nearly the whole race. He's definitely got the most laps led. no worries about that at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a picture perfect race, a very textbook race, and would be well done as he's only got 2 more corners to go as he comes around this long sweeper into the final corner for the final time tonight.
It's certainly been a bit of a masterclass in how to race the McLaren. That's one thing that's come out of it, being the only McLaren in the field, and he's certainly shown that he knows what to do with that particular car, whereas a lot of guys may consider that car, they test it, that sort of stuff. But as he comes across the line, Andrew Dyson wins round 5 of the everything simulated Aussie Outlaws GT3 series.
Yeah, definitely a masterclass as we had Ryan Jones crossing the line, still holding on to second place over Stephen Banks, then Tom Foster and Tom Williams coming across the line in 5th place to round out your top 5. You go to 6th place of Nick Botterill, Scott Barton, Jason Martin, our AM class winner here tonight in 8th place, Robbie Bradbury and Peter Pavlik rounding out your top 10.
And 11th place, Damien McVeigh in the pro class. 12th, Brad Fenley in the pro class in that VB machine. 13th, Brad J. Cooper in the AM class. There's some good points for him. And I believe that puts him 3rd on the podium there for the AM class. Carl Withy just missing out on the podium for the AM class in 14th. Josh Micklemore 15th. James Lawrence 16th. Jared Williams 17th. Mark Johansson down 17 laps, and Scott Lefebvre and Blake Fitz down 24 laps, with Dave Douglas and Riley Curtis not finishing.
You know, it's definitely a strong race and a well thought out race as we just see the 2 DPR boys just congratulating each other there on a 1-2 finish. We're just going to step away for a slight second with another word from our sponsors, and then we'll get into some driver interviews.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Go, Joy.
And welcome back. Round 5, pretty good race all in out. A lot of good battles and a bit of a strategy play out now. So we've got a few of the we've got the AM podium here tonight. We'll start with Brad Cooper in P3, mate. How's the race from your end?
Hard, very hard.
It was definitely a long and tight one. Any thoughts on the track? Did you like it? Did you one of your better tracks or one that you're happy to see?
This
behind
is
it?
one of the worst tracks I've raced on because it's the first time I've ever been on it, so I didn't know the proper layout and the proper braking points. But overall, still a good race, and I was actually surprised I got P3.
No, it was definitely a nice drive here on out from start to finish. Also, thoughts on the new Mustang?
Pretty good actually. Like a lot better than I thought. A lot more stable than I thought. Besides under braking though, like it's a bit tail happy, but I end up working that out towards the end, putting more brake bias towards the front. But other than that, feels good, sounds good. But I reckon once I got the setups down pat, I reckon I'll be alright because I was only running the baseline today.
Brad, it's Steve Hoppett, mate. How are you?
Good,
Congratulations. Because of the short notice on these cars, I mean, you've only had 2 or 3 days and stuff to really sort of get a chance to run in the car and get a setup for it. Did you find that really being a problem, that you were dead set you were going to run this car, or at some point you considered maybe sticking with what you were running previously?
No, I was definitely dead set changing to the Mustang. Because 1, I'm a Ford fan. 2, Mustangs are literally one of my favourite cars as well. But yeah, setup wise, it's definitely going to be hard to try and get a good setup for.
Yeah, at the start we were talking, one of the guys was saying that they found the Mustang to be a bit floaty. You were saying about it being a bit twitchy in the rear.
Yeah.
Did you find it was also a bit floaty, or was it just that you just that little twitchy issue that you had with the brake bias?
It was just that little twitchy issue for me. Because I'm coming from the Porsche, and it feels similar, but
Right.
the Porsche is definitely more like it sticks to the road a lot more. I can say that for sure.
No worries. Well, back to you, Joyce. Sorry, I just wanted to ask that.
No, it's congratulations again on finishing in P3 in the AM. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or give any shout outs to?
My team, SCCR Sim Sports, and all our sponsors. If it wasn't for them, it would be definitely hard to get out there and get racing.
Good stuff, and congratulations again on your P3.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
Up next is our P2 finisher in the AM class, Peter Pavlik. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How did you go in your race from your point of view? Very kind of difficult to control around this track, and how'd you make those tires kind of last across the stint?
Pretty much just split it in 2. But yeah, the Merc felt nice around here, so it was nice and good. Goal was just to make sure I don't go over any curbs a bit too hard, especially in that little chicaney bit. Other than that, yeah, it was just basically just keep it easy and try not to make any mistakes.
Yeah, I know the sausage curves can definitely bite if you hit them a little bit wrong. But gladly we were able to see you progress through the field. And P2 finishing tonight, definitely good for your championship, only being a point behind Martin coming into the round. Yeah, how's that kind of looking for you championship wise, and are you looking forward to Watkins Glen next fortnight, I believe we go to?
Yep.
Yeah, I should be a bit better around there. I've like around this track. I think I've only raced it once or twice 2 years ago, so and never in a GT3, so it was the first for me. So next week probably the next round probably a track that we're familiar with in GT3s, so it should be good.
Yeah, well, being Watkins Glen, it's actually there's no bus stop, and we're using the classic boot. So whether that's good or bad news to you, I'm not sure.
Either way, I think it'll be fun.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, it's a great track. It always provides good racing. So, yeah. So congratulations on that, mate. Second place in the AM class and top 10 overall. So that's great stuff. Have you got any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
Just the guys and the team at Pacific Esports Racing, Lake Edge Holiday Units on Burra Lake, One Shot Pest Management in Ulladulla, Bin the Blade for Ballon Foundation, our partners W Energy Drinks, Tim Nickel Photography, and Player One Simgi.
Excellent stuff. No worries at all. Well, once again, congratulations. Second place in M class, 10th overall for Peter Pavlovic. Clarify it, mate. Please say your last name for us, how it's meant to be.
Pavlovich, but it's all right.
Pavlovich, that's fine. So there you go. We will get that right from now on. I think we've said it about 3 different ways tonight. So, and then a couple of weeks ago, I think I screwed it up completely a couple of times. So there you go. We'll get it right from this point on. Don't want to do you disservice, mate. But congratulations, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks at Watkins Glen.
All right, see you then.
And our winner of the AM class, Mr. Jason Martin. Congratulations. How are you?
Oh, bloody good, mate. I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, that's well, mate, it was a good drive. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you say you didn't expect it, was there a reason for that, or you just didn't like the track, or?
I didn't really like the track. Never driven here before, so yeah, real happy with that.
Yeah, got to be, I suppose. I mean, it was 8th place overall and first place in the AM class, so that's a good night outing.
Yeah, I struggled a bit early with all them pros around me. I was watching the mirrors a bit too much and nearly lost it a couple of times, but after I found some clear track, it was a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I figured that might be the case with some of the AM guys that was running towards the front there. Dave Douglas started off, had a similar sort of run early, but he had some issues and ended up not completing the race, unfortunately. So shout out to Dave. Just a bad night for him, I guess, and he'll turn it around at Watkins Glen, I'm sure. On the subject, Watkins Glen, 2 weeks' time. Your thoughts on that?
At least it's a track I know pretty well from all the times I've raced it in a NASCAR, so yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, as I said, there's no bus stop apparently, and we're using the classic boot. That's what we've been informed. So, do you think that's something that you'll be looking forward to? Because that's a pretty good layout.
Yeah, I don't know it that well, but it should only be a couple of corners to learn, so not too much trouble. And yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah, it always provides good racing, so that'll be great. So a handy points there. Mr. Bradbury sort of did you a favour by splitting you and Peter Pavlovich. I'll get it right again. And yeah, we've only just clarified that, and I got it wrong first time out of the gate. But yeah, look, yeah, that probably put a little bit more of a point spread there than usual, because Peter was sitting pretty much behind you there for a big chunk of that towards the end, until Ray did his pit stop and wedged in between you. So he sort of did you a bit of a favour there and gave a little bit more of a point spread in the AM class. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
The boys at Mitch Motorsports, we're an oval team, but I think we're enjoying the roads a bit more than oval at the moment. So, yeah,
Yeah,
all of them.
Josh Micklemore wasn't running too badly there tonight. He was a bit down the order, but not too bad. In the class, I think he finished about 5th or 6th in the class. So yeah.
Yeah, he struggled a bit tonight, but he'll be better next time.
Well, once again, I mean, like you said yourself about the track being a bit of an element in that for you. So I'd say it was the same right through the field.
Yeah, I don't think many people race this track.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Jason Martin, winner of the AM class, an 8th spot overall in round 5 of the Everything Simulated GT3 Championship, brought to you by Aussie Outlaws. Thanks, Jason. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks at Watkins Glen.
Cheers, mate.
Over to you, Joy.
As we move along to our pro drivers now in the pro podium, starting with Stephen Banks finishing P3 tonight. How are you, Stephen?
Yeah, good, thank you. That was it was a good race in a way, kind of. I guess got points, so that was good. It's a bit frustrating I didn't get in the second, but no, it was still a good night. So
No, it definitely looked like a intense battle from where we were sitting. I bet you're probably a bit sick already of looking at the back end of that Corvette, but had Tom behind you as well, kind of running second gun for you as well. So good team effort.
yeah, massive shout out to Tom. He really did the team thing tonight. Helped me along, and he had good pace as well. So he just sat there and just did the thing for me, which was really, really appreciated and good of him.
No, it was definitely a good showing. How'd you find the track and the kind of race and how it progressed tonight?
Yeah, I didn't mind it too much. I kind of had to learn it this week, so did that last couple of days, but kind of got the hang of it pretty quick. I enjoyed it. It was difficult to pass on. That's the only thing I found. But yeah, other than that, it was an okay track.
Well, definitely a pretty okay finishing for your points and your championship look as well, finishing in P3 again, another strong result for your championship.
Yeah, happy with that.
So yeah, no, a good race all in all. And how hard is it to pick the strategy with the compulsory stop and such a extended window that you're able to do that stop in as well?
Yeah, that actually really frustrated me during the race because I had a fair bit going on before the session and even before the race, and we had a massive thunderstorm, so I was kind of half checking. So my head wasn't really in a strategy point of view, and I only put 50 litres in the car, which didn't give me any flexibility, so I had to pit when I had to pit. And yeah, I was a bit annoyed about that because if I could have just stayed out for a bit longer, I think I could have done the overcut, but yeah, I kind of took that opportunity away from myself and then had to worry about other people doing that to me. So I ballsed up the strategy tonight, to be totally honest. But yeah, still got P3s. Possibly didn't even change the result, so I'll take that.
From the outside looking in, it definitely didn't really change too much, and definitely made a good result in the end with P3 as well for round 5. Anyone you'd like to shout out or give thanks to tonight?
Just like Pete did, so it was just lake edge down at Barrel Lake, near Ulladulla. I've got One Shot Pest Control, massive shout out to them. Murray's he actually helped out today, he's legend, so One Shot Pest Control if you're in the Shellhaven area. And yeah, just bin the bait for Blayland. If you haven't already, check it out on Facebook and really give them a follow and yeah, support them. And our supporter Dubby. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. And the guys in the team, obviously, they're fantastic bunch of blokes and we all help each other out. So yeah, massive shout out to them.
Good stuff. That's Stephen Banks, your P3 position holder tonight for round 5. As we move along to Mr. Ryan Jones. How are you, Ryan?
Yeah, pretty good. Bit of a slog that race, but we got there.
Yeah, definitely kept you on your toes the whole race with that race-long battle. Couldn't really get a second to ease up by the look of things.
Yeah, we we rolled out on high racing baseline setup essentially, so the car's not quite there. Didn't do much practice, so it's just a case of trying to hang on with what we've got. Apparently, the old McLaren was pretty quick out front with Daiso.
No, it definitely is, and those flames always distract me as well. So no, it's good to see the McLaren still being used. But yeah, with the new Corvette, asked before about the Mustang. How does that kind of feel, and with only the couple of days practice available, because it has only just been released on the iRacing service? How did you find that and come up to speed with driving a new car?
We got a big 24-hour race this weekend, Ages 24, so we've been practicing pretty hard for that, and so we're straight onto the new cars. I found the Corvette probably suits my driving a little bit more. I can dive into the corners a bit harder like I want to, and use the brake to get it stopped. With the Mustang just wants to over rotate anytime you get near braking and turning at the same time. So big fan of the Corvette. Has a good balance over a long run. I think I might have cut the front tires in behind those. I got some flame grilled front tires behind Daiso in those first few laps.
I think you'll be seeing the front of that Audi in your mirrors in your sleep, won't you, mate?
Yeah, we had to get creative with the limits of what's acceptable in defense.
No, it was very it was great driving from both of you, to be honest. I mean, he spotted a couple of places in certain spots on the track where he stuck his nose down either the inside or the outside, but you didn't quite put the car where he needed you to put it so that he could complete the move, and had to back out of it. And I think that was just great driving by the pair of you for a very long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, when you're defending, you just got to really try to hit your marks, and especially if you trust the guy or the girl behind you isn't going to just dive it in there like an absolute madman, you can sort of really rely on them. And, when they poke their nose, you can just tighten up your entry and really squeeze them before they get to the apex. And 9 times out of 10, as we saw, Stephen backed out of it because you're on your way to an accident if you keep trying to force the issue. So yeah, just trusted that he wasn't going to do anything silly, and he raced me really cleanly, which is good. Good.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because I was about to ask for that. At any point, not at any point, but it must have been a comfort to you knowing you had somebody behind you that could do the job and wouldn't do something particularly silly and take both of you out and ruin your races.
Yeah, well, you never really know 100%. He had a couple times at turn 2 that were getting me a bit concerned, but yeah, after 20 minutes, you generally sort to trust them. But it's iRacing, netcode's a thing. You're never fully comfortable.
Yeah, well, there's always the netcode, yeah, regardless of what the other driver does. I mean, sticking his nose down the inside or the outside and getting that close, if netcode had decided that the two of you needed to be doing some irrigation work, I suppose you would have been.
Yeah, well, he got alongside me at one point at the end of the back straight, and I thought we were going to have a shunt there for sure. There's a big fat sausage curve on the inside, and if you touch it, you're on your way to the airport. So I was really hoping to get away from that. But no, it's good hard racing, and had nothing to do so after lap 3.
Have you run this track before, Snetterton?
I mean, I drove it a couple of nights ago. I accidentally actually jumped into I don't know we were racing here. I saw a GT3 server. Jumped in, did some Corvette laps, and went, it's Outlaw practice. Happy days. So
right.
I did a few laps the other night, which is the most practice I've done all season. Last time I raced it was ages ago.
A couple of the other podium sitters, Jason Martin in particular, were surprised at their result because they'd never driven the track before, and it wasn't a track they particularly enjoyed. Is this one that you like, or is it the style of track that suits you, or not?
It was too dry for my liking, for one. Needs more rain, but also a bit too much stop-start. I like the more flowing tracks, less braking, the better. I seem to really struggle in the braking zone. So, yeah, the big ones like Phillip Islander, more at my alley.
No worries. Have you got anybody you want to give shout-outs to?
Just big shout out Daiso for just ruining my confidence every single race by absolutely demolishing me.
He demolished the whole field, mate.
I know. No.
Oh, except for when he went to do his pit stop and Bradbury took the lead over. He started pole. He led 99.9% of the race. And at one point, we were both commenting it was just a masterclass in how to drive the McLaren, because a lot of guys will test the McLaren, they're tempted to run it, but they find that it's a difficult vehicle to get a handle on. Well, Daiso certainly proved tonight that he knows how to drive the McLaren, because that was really just a beautiful drive from start to finish. So we'll be chatting with him in a moment about that. But look, brilliant drive from you. Second place overall, second place in the Pro. It doesn't really get a whole lot better than that. You started on the front row. What more can you say? Ryan Jones, congratulations.
Cheers, boys.
No worries. We'll catch up with you in 2 weeks at Watkins Glen, mate.
Oh, beautiful. Love that place.
Yeah, no, it's the longer version, no bus stop, and we're using the classic boot. So something to look forward to.
All right. See you there.
All right, thanks, Ryan. And I guess I'll hand it back to Jai, and he can have a word with Mr. Andrew Dyson, our winner.
Yeah, Daiso, what a wonderful drive that was in the good old McLaren. How did it go from your point of view? Obviously, pretty textbook.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, the second half of the race was pretty cruisy, I suppose. But the start of the race, I was sort of wobbling around a bit. I started on a setup that wasn't really optimized for 75 litres or whatever it was. It was sort of optimized for 40 litres, so I put a bit extra fuel in there and gave it a few spicy clicks to make it work, and was cruising around sort of trying to work it out in the first few laps there with Ryan behind me, who probably could have passed me a couple of times, to be honest, but he didn't. So, and then just managed to work it out from there. Once the fuel came out, it was a lot nicer again.
Yeah, definitely at the start of the race, it was quite a nice battle up the front. Then you just started stretching your legs a bit as the race went on. Was it more so just keeping an eye on those numbers and kind of just managing the gap as it went on?
Nope. So it was purely just the dodgy set. I think once the fuel came out, like I said, it got a lot better, so it got a lot nicer to drive, and from now on I could sort of do my own thing, and keep it a bit more consistent, I suppose. And
flying the sole flag for the McLaren, what kind of went into the decision to using the McLaren? And because it's not that much of a used car nowadays, but obviously it's still quite quick and still a car to kind of look at and run at the front with.
It has its tracks every now and then. It will come up in officials, and you'll see dudes will be racing it. Like I think last time I saw it, it was quite popular at Monza last time Monza came around. So there was all dudes racing it at Monza, and here I was struggling around in a Porsche, getting beaten in a McLaren of all things. But anyway, yeah, it's I suppose part of the appeal is that it's quite an old car, so it was a bit of a meme for the boys. You know, everyone's jumping in all these new cars, and I thought I'll do the opposite and go in the oldest GT3 we can race. To be honest, if I could race the Z4 GT3, I'd race that because that thing sounds awesome. But I think that's way out of spec now. We can't even drive it. But and the other part of it is the difficulty of driving the car probably has a bit of appeal to it as well.
Yeah, definitely keep you on your toes. I'd personally just choose it because of the flames it shoots.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's the third point. I forgot about that. It looks pretty cool too. And I mean, even when it's not shooting in flames, it looks pretty bad as well. So I like it.
Nah, definitely good. I might just hand over to Steve.
Daiso, how you doing, mate?
Good, man. How are you, Mad Dog? What's going on, bro?
Yeah, well, you know, not much changes with me, mate. I'd sit and watch other people driving well and dream about doing it myself. Laps led 29 from 31. You started on pole. Except for when Bradbury pitted, you led every lap of the race. It's just a hell of a drive, mate, and my hat goes off to you. That in a car that a lot of people want to race but can't really figure out how to drive properly, you just seem to demonstrate that you knew what to do with the vehicle. You've said that dodgy setup, made some tweaks, a couple of clicks here and there. So with the setup, did you run just a baseline or a default iRacing setup on that?
Well, I initially started with a this goes way back to like 2022 or something. We ran Bathurst 12-hour with this car. We had a pretty good setup. Then I actually tried to run it at Monza the last time. I saw it doing quite well in officials, so I adjusted the Bathurst setup for Monza, and did all crazy things to make it work with aero balance. Then I tried running it here tonight and did all crazy things as well, and it just wasn't working. So I went to the high downforce sprint, and that only had like 45 or 40 liters in it or so. So when I put 25 litres in it for the race, it sort of put everything out of kilter, and I had to sort of change the ride heights and a few other bits and pieces to make it basically not fail scrutineering. But it was much better. Like what we had was pretty bad. And to be honest, these icing setups are actually very good. Like these days, they're a very good baseline to get you out there, and they're pretty stable and everything. And when the car's quite unstable, like the McLaren, which is naturally pretty unstable, especially when you try and make it fast, they're very good like that.
Well, I mean, you were running around doing better than qualifying times there at one point in the race, maintaining about 7.5 second lead. So you'd have to be happy with that.
I'm not sure what's happened there. I think maybe the track conditions came into favour or something, but certainly, like when the fuel comes out, the cars get a lot faster, which you expect. Yeah, I think there must have been something else going on as well. Like the track conditions must have come in because the tyres were quite old and I was going quite fast still.
Well, your last lap was 1:46.409, and that's also your fast lap. So you've done a Peter Brock there.
I mean, I had full intent of trying to do that. I tried to do it a few times the last few laps, but you kind of have one little slide in this car, and well, all the GT3 cars really, but it feels like more so this one, and it really punishes you. Like you never get back to an apex on the next corner, or you really got to back it off, and it's just it fries its tires up, surface up pretty quick.
We did actually mention that last couple of laps and about how you'd led the majority of the race, 99.9%, whatever it was, and that sort of stuff. You started on pole, you led almost the entire race. We really, and I said straight out to Jai, and he wholeheartedly agreed, we did not want to see something happen that would have cost you the win after that sort of performance. So it was great to see the car get across the line and take first place overall, first place pro class. Just fantastic stuff, mate. You got anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yep. Yeah, I'll say thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and all the guys, or Mark, I suppose, and everyone who helps Mark put together the league, both this one and the Oval leagues. He races all he runs on weekends. So thanks, Mark, for that, and everyone else who chips in. And everyone who tunes in has a bit of a watch. All the DPR boys, I know they like having a bit of a watch during the race and commenting and doing all that stuff. So thanks to those boys, and hopefully we can come out next week and have a good race again.
Well, 2 weeks' time, we go to round 6 at Watkins Glen. No bus stop, classic boot layout. Your thoughts?
No bus stop's probably the only thing that's sort of out of the ordinary, I suppose. Normally the bus stop's always in every layout you ever do, or every race you do there, that layout is run. So that's the only thing that's a bit different. Should be interesting.
Well, the classic boot will take you down the back section. So
yep.
These cars probably will enjoy that layout more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's they've got a lot of downforce and stuff, but you generally tend to run not a lot of downforce at a circuit like Watkins Glen, so it can be a bit challenging, but still good fun.
And the Glen always provides good racing, not just for the drivers, but for spectators and viewers and commentators. It's always a really good outing there. So with the field that we've got in the championship at the moment, we should see some really good racing there. So I'll see you in 2. Sorry, mate. Sorry, producer speaking in my ear. I'm hearing voices. Yeah. Worldwide Technology Park tomorrow night. I've got somebody wanting to speak to you about or ask you about that. So tell me what you're doing with that.
I'll be in France, actually. So I don't think I'll be racing.
You're racing Le Mans, are you?
Yeah. Major 24 hours on this weekend, so a lot of boys are doing that one. We're doing that. We're still kind of not really super decided on the car, but most likely we'll race the Mustang and just see how we go.
All right, not a problem at all. All right, thanks, Andrew Dyson, our winner and winner of the Pro Class, and a very, very handy fistful of points from a very dominant display tonight. So catch up with your Dyso. Take it easy, mate. Congrats.
Thanks, Mad Dog. Thanks, boys. I'll see you later.
And we'll throw back to Joy, who has some information for us, I believe.
Yeah, that's just pretty much a wrap on round 5 of the GT3 series. But tomorrow night the boys head back onto the oval side of things at Worldwide Technology Speedway for the Oval League from the Aussie Outlaw League. So that should be pretty good to watch, and hopefully see a few new winners. But yeah, that's a pretty much a wrap for round 5. Round 6 next time out, Watkins Glen Classic Boot should be a good race and a bit of a favourite for a lot of drivers in the GT3 series.
So I thought we were wrapping things up, so I didn't say anything. But yeah, look, as Jai said, round 5 done and dusted. Aussie Outlaws, thanks to all our sponsors, thanks to all the drivers, and on behalf of Jai Schultz and myself, and Kobe Jordan, who's pushing the buttons tonight, and Mark Johansson. Thanks very much. Next race at Watkins Glen, and we'll catch you later. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.